Injective, the blockchain built for finance. But what does that mean? And if you're wondering, we're going to cover that in this video as we go over what is Injective, how it works, what's going on in the ecosystem, what's the coin for, the tokenomics, and more. But before we get into that, nothing in this video is financial advice, it's for educational purposes. I found all this information publicly available online, and I'm going to break it down in simple terms so that anyone can understand, because there's a lot of technical jargon when it comes to crypto, and I want to break that down so anyone can understand it and get involved if they want to. This video is not sponsored by Injective. I do have some small investments with them, but it's still going to be a very unbiased review, as you can tell if you watch the entire video. So stick around and we'll get started now. What is Injective? Now, Injective has two main focuses, and that's built-in interoperability in their blockchain, and they've partnered with Wormhole to do that, and DeFi. They have a shared order book that DeFi apps can use, and they all pull from the same sources. Now, what makes Injective unique compared to other blockchains is that you don't really need to connect to Injective. It works on top of other blockchains. You can use Injective while connected to your MetaMask on Ethereum. We'll get into that a little bit later, but we still need to talk more about some of its features. And with Injective's shared on-chain order book, multiple exchanges can use the same liquidity. So if you set up an order on Helix Exchange, you could go over to Waveley and see the exact same trade. Now, the purpose of this is to eliminate fragmented liquidity. You could have multiple exchanges, and each one needs to source their own liquidity. With an on-chain order book anyone can pull from, that makes it a lot easier for anyone to start a decentralized exchange. Now, in an interview with the CEO, Eric Chen, he actually mentions, yeah, anyone can set up an exchange within a couple hours or even a couple minutes if you're very familiar with how everything works.
It could be as simple as, downloading the SDK and, using some of the reference applications and launching it in, less than an hour or sometimes even a few minutes.
And when it comes to this decentralized exchange, the fees are very low. And the big selling point is if you're using their decentralized exchange, you don't have to pay any gas fees. So let's say we place this order. We'll do a market buy, and I'm going to do 100%. That's only like $4.44. I'm going to hit buy, and then my MetaMask appears, and all I have to do is sign the transaction. I'm not paying any gas fees. I just sign the transaction using my wallet, and that order goes through. So now I have some Injective in my wallet without having to pay gas for any of those transactions. But that feature is only available for their decentralized exchange. You do need the INJ token for gas fees when using other applications. So let's say you wanted to get started in Injective. You would try to find out what's going on in the Injective ecosystem. You can find that their featured dApps are Helix, which is that exchange we just went through, Frontrunner, which is the sports betting app that is available for mobile apps. I don't understand sports betting, so that's not something I'm gonna mess with. And Astroport, which is their AMM exchange. For everything that doesn't use a decentralized order book, you are gonna have to pay gas fees using the INJ coin. So let's say we wanted to get started in this ecosystem. We would start in Helix. We would connect our wallet. And then we're connected. Now, as you can see here, I connected my MetaMask, and my MetaMask is connected to the Ethereum mainnet. So Injective works on top of Ethereum, and it also works on top of other blockchains. And after connecting your account, you'd want to go into the account page and deposit assets. I would recommend depositing USDT, but wrapped ETH is another good option, because if you go into trade and into spot, and then we look at the spot markets, you can see that USDT is used for the trading pairs here. And if you deposited wrapped ETH, you would have to sell that for USDT to be able to trade in the spot market or in the futures market. So if we go to the Injective Hub, we can see what networks we can bring assets over to into the Injective ecosystem, and we can bridge from Axelar, Cosmos Hub, Crescent, Ethereum, and then Ethereum Wormhole, that's the bridging partner, Evmos, Moonbeam, Osmosis, Persistence, Secret Network, Solana, Sommelier, Stride. Now more bridging options are on the way because Injective has partnered with Wormhole, and Wormhole can help them connect to multiple blockchains and assets, so that will just create more access for the Injective ecosystem. Let's talk about the Injective coin. What is it for? How does it work? Why do you need it? So if you are going to do any transactions within the Injective network, you are going to need the INJ coin to process those transactions. Unless you are using one of Injective's decentralized exchanges, like Helix, which uses their on-chain order book, and that makes it gas free. So that actually makes it really easy to get involved in Injective because you don't need to start off with the INJ coin to get into their ecosystem. You could just bridge in ETH, trade that for Injective, and then you can start using other applications. So besides gas fees, you could also use the INJ coin for staking rewards. And if you do that, you can get up to 16% APR at the moment. And that would require you to delegate your funds to one of their 109 validators. And for people who have staked their funds, that allows them to participate in governance, where INJ stakers can vote on proposals, which leads the direction of where the network goes. And then the most unique thing, the weekly auction, which is very fascinating because we got to talk about fees. Any decentralized application that participates in the on-chain order book, they have to pay a cut of the fees that they earn to the Injective protocol. So when we looked at Helix earlier, the trading fees are 0.1%. Now, 60% of those fees, so 0.06%, goes to the auction and burn fund. Now, this is exciting because it brings a lot more value and deflationary tokenomics to the Injective ecosystem, because their on-chain order book allows anyone who wants to run a decentralized exchange on Injective to have liquidity. And if they use that, they have to pay 60% of the fees that they earn to the auction and burn fund. So I found that really interesting because let's say they earned $10,000 for the week. You can bid on that. And right now the highest bid is worth $4,500, but they could potentially get $10,000 out of it. Now the pool of funds is made up of different assets. So it's made up of USDT at the moment, USDC, INJ, and some other USDC. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, like, this doesn't make any sense. How can someone spend $4,500 to get $10,400 worth of assets? And that's the marketing tactic of Injective, because to get these assets from the auction and burn protocol, you have to pay in INJ tokens. If there are a lot of people bidding on this auction, they each need to buy INJ to participate in it. And if we take a look at a previous auction, we can see that someone spent $9,000 to buy $6,000 worth of assets, but that's because the coin went up like 50% in the last week. So what Injective is doing is they're driving demand for the INJ coin by kind of teasing users with like, hey, you could get this deal on some assets, but you need the INJ coin to bid on it. Now, this took a while for me to understand. I had to watch some interviews with Eric Chen, the CEO of Injective, to figure out why they would do this. And yeah, it's to drive more demand for the token. It drives more people to participate in it. And essentially, it's still a buyback and burn system, because 60% of the fees from the decentralized exchanges that use the on-chain order book go to the auction and burn fund. And then if you kind of just take out the auction out of it, basically 60% of the fees earned from the protocol are just getting burned. And that just makes Injective deflationary. So the auction is just like another feature on top of things, but what they're really doing is any of the protocol fees that they earn from people trading on their platform, those tokens are getting burned and disappearing from the ecosystem, making all other Injective coins that are still out there more valuable. And having deflationary tokenomics is a good thing to see. It's one of my favorite things to see when investing in a coin. And before you jump into any type of investing, just because I like it doesn't mean you should invest. Timing is everything, and I don't see a lot of potential in INJ at the moment, but we're going to look at some statistics in a moment so I can explain why. Now, we still need to understand the tokenomics and the supply, and there is a max supply or total supply of 100 million INJ coins, and there are 80 million currently circulating. If we jump into the auction history, we can see of that 100 million, 5.6 million INJ coins have been burned. And we can make some rough estimations about what the next year is going to look like. Let's just assume every auction moving forward is 1100 INJ coins worth of value, and someone buys it for 1000 INJ coins, and 52 weeks in the year, that would be 52,000 INJ potentially burned at this current rate for the next year. And 52,000 INJ coins is not a lot, because with that 100 million coin supply, 52,000 would be 0.5% of the total supply, which is pretty low compared to the staking rewards, which is even more generous. So what's going to make Injective more valuable? That's people using their network. We need to see a lot of people using it, a lot of people paying fees. These auction burns have to go significantly higher to justify the current price, at least in my own personal opinion. So I am saying don't invest, and you pick your own time, you do your own research, just because I just want this to be purely educational. This is a Dune dashboard with a lot of information regarding Injective. I'm going to leave a link to this in the description. We can see that total addresses over time in the Injective network is just over 46,000. And of those wallets, over 13,000 have more than 0. So maybe someone created a wallet, they just didn't do anything with it. As for other wallets, you can see that there are over 1,000 holders that have more than 1,000 Injective coins, 128 with more than 10,000, 39 with over 100,000. Now, this is all on the Ethereum network. A lot of the data could be incomplete because Injective runs on multiple chains and lives on multiple networks and can be in various forms. The data might even be missing some of the liquid staking Injective coins. So it's a little difficult to gauge how accurate it is, and we're just going to use some of this data to make some assumptions. As for weekly active users on the network, we're not seeing a lot of numbers. There's, on any given day, a lot less than 400 users, which isn't a lot considering that the market cap is over $700 million. On Astroport, one of their AMM exchanges, there's $6 million in liquidity, $402,000 in 24-hour trading volume. On Helix, we can see that there's about $10 million in total trading volume over the last 24 hours. And when I look at all that information, it doesn't justify the price for me to say it's a good opportunity. If these numbers were significantly higher and the market cap was a lot lower, I would feel more confident about it. But at this current point in time, I'd be very careful. It's just something to watch. There could be a lot of other potential good news coming up in the future, but you want to be more confident when investing, so look for the right opportunities. Now, once again, this isn't a promotional video for you to just go out and buy a coin that's mentioned in a review. You have to do your own research. You have to figure out if it's a good time to invest or if it's a good time to wait things out and figure out where things are going. Injective is doing something very different from other blockchains, especially with their gasless decentralized exchange, which makes it really easy to get involved in their ecosystem because they're built on top of other ecosystems. You can use them while on Ethereum. But that doesn't mean you should invest. That just means I should have made this video a year ago to help the viewers out. But I wasn't invested that far ago, but I have been following this for the last several months. And I thought it was a good time to make some content because I finally got newer glasses and I don't get headaches anymore while looking at computer screens. So it took me a few weeks to figure out my health conditions there. Alright, if this video was helpful, as always, I appreciate it if you hit the like button, follow me on Twitter, get a sporadic newsletter every now and then. Links are in the description. And with that, I hope you got your full value, dramatic pause, for today.